launch into it. So to start, we're going to talk through how to listen to language interpretation for folks who might be Spanish speaking. Francisco, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. As part of the efforts of Dottie to reach out to as broad a segment of the community as possible, the Spanish interpretation is made available for these meetings. If you haven't gotten a chance to use this service before, you go to the bottom right of your screen and click on the little globe for interpretation and select the language of your choice. Bienvenidos a todos. Como parte de sus esfuerzos de comunicarse con el segmento más amplio posible de la población en la comunidad, el Departamento de Transporte y Infraestructura organiza interpretación para estas reuniones. Para poder aprovechar este servicio, puede pulsar el globito en la parte inferior derecha de su pantalla y seleccionar el idioma de su preferencia. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Chris.
Francisco. All right, let's get into the content. So welcome everybody. You are at the December meeting of the West Area Community Advisory Group put on by the Denver Department of Transportation and Infrastructure and our Office of Community and Business Engagement. This platform and this channel of communication is really to have a kind of regional approach to communication around projects that are both planned and in active construction for the west area of town. And we have been active for a couple of years now and really focused on the West Colfax pedestrian improvement project, but there's a lot coming to the west area of Denver, and we're excited to continue kind of our engagement strategy around that. So our agenda for the evening will be taking a quick update about the West Colfax Improvement Project. Obviously, folks are probably experiencing that construction, so it's good to hear about progress. And then we'll have a quick update about the Federal Boulevard Transit Reliability Improvement Project. Moving next to the Denver Connector Micro Transit Program, which just launched. And then we'll be going to a couple of other Dottie services, like the sidewalk repair program that's coming, and the Denver Solid Waste service changes. So a couple of different changes to those services. So to jump right in, I will hand it over to Bailey from the West Colfax Improvement Project to give a construction update.
Hey, thanks, Chris, for sending that over. So we are one of those improvements that's already coming to the West Colfax area. Next slide. So I've presented on this meeting. I believe this will be my third or fourth time, which is so great. I love coming to these. So I kind of did tone down some of the background since we've covered it many a time. So our project consists of 19 different intersections that we're improving with some ADA compliant ramps and pedestrian bulb outs. We're going to have 8 new landscaped medians, and they'll provide kind of that safety in between east and west traffic. Those medians are going to help us prevent 60 plus left turn conflicts. I believe the number is like 63. So a lot of people are really excited about those left turn conflicts being removed while we're out there constructing. We are as well. We see it day to day. We're also doing some transit improvements with some bus bulb outs for safer waiting areas. Those medians, we're only putting them at strategic intersections to allow for future development, more signals, that sort of thing. And we're also doing some sidewalk and pedestrian improvement work around the corridor. So let's see where this project is. So our project is West Colfax, just west of kind of the stadium area, starting at Irving Street, and then ending on the west side at Sheridan Boulevard. So the yellow dots are pedestrian bulb outs that we have already completed at various intersections. And then the blue dots are ones that we still have to complete. So we are over 50% done with those. Oh. And then the medians in the middle show where the new medians will be located, and we are currently constructing our first one. We are phasing that work so that we can get the outside of the roadways completed before we start work on the inside. Overall, we are expected to complete everything next year, sometime around summer. Some of our plantings with the landscaping may need some time to grow. So we're saying fall just in case we do need to do some replanting, refurbishing, that sort of thing, and let us complete our finishing work, but we are well underway. So here is one of those coveted landscaped medians that we have discussed so much. This is a great example of the one that we'll be going in right now at Yates. It's on the western side of our project. So it really creates that center divide where east-west traffic right now, there is no protection that median provides. So there's a lot of that head-on-head conflict, especially with pedestrians in the area, jaywalking, that sort of thing. These medians will really create safety. It'll look aesthetically pleasing. And honestly, I just like them. I think they look great. Next is, so this, I just left this in here in case you're curious of if your street or your block is getting a pedestrian new bulb out or a bus bulb out, anything like that. So just scan that QR code and it takes you to our whole plan sheet. It's like 37 pages, so I didn't want to put it all on here. And that's also available on our website that will be linked at the next slide. But I do have one fun fact that I would like to share with the group. I know we were really interested in the history of the area on some of our previous meetings. So in middle of September of this year, some of our crews began that median work we were talking about. And as they were digging in the median and taking out decades and decades of asphalt and concrete and everything else, they actually came across these old trolley tracks that the area helped me with some information. And these tracks were actually first established in the early 1800s in Denver, but this track itself, was built in the 1880s, which is so long ago, and those tracks are still there today. And the guys, when they were looking at them, they are old steel, they are old. So it's very fascinating that they're still there, and they were buried under like asphalt from the 70s, like all of this crazy stuff. So it's really fun to see what's down there in this historical area. But I wanted to show you guys, so those are the unearthed tracks there on the right-hand side. And then the trolleys became tramways as, you know, electricity and everything developed. So if that's picture on the left is about from the 1950s, right there on our project at Utica Street on West Colfax. And that was in the 1949 timeframe is when that picture was taken. And then these were eventually abandoned in the late 50s when obviously cars needed more room. So yeah, I thought that was a fun fact to show everyone. And then this just kind of goes through the impacts you guys can expect. So right now we are working in that first median on the west side. So traffic is currently pushed to the outside of the road between Yates and Wolf. Right now on the north side, further east, we're working at Tennyson. So traffic is pushed further south Tennyson to Raleigh. And then Tennyson Street is fully closed on the north side. And then upcoming, this is our next outlook. So on the south side, we're going to be working at Lowell Street. So if you use that brewery or that coffee shop, pay attention. We are going to keep it all open and accessible. You'll just have to drive around the block sometimes. Stewart Street on the north side, we're going to start that in a couple of weeks. So if you or a child go to school there, take notice because you will have to use the other side. And then Raleigh Street on the south side as well. We will start in the next month or so. And I think we can just go to the next slide. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, need anything from us, would like anything from us, scan the QR code and that takes you to sign up for weekly updates. And then we also have an email that goes directly to me, and that call number also goes directly to me. And I love hearing from you.
Thanks, Bailey.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Bailey on the West Colfax project construction? Carlos, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know about the Raleigh south side construction that they were going to be doing, because it seems like they were already doing some on that side, working on the bulb outs. And so I was just curious about what exactly it was that they're going to be working on the south side of Raleigh.
We have to do the other side now. So we're just gonna be doing the opposite side.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. So we just came back because we didn't want to completely close off that street for an extended period of time while we were doing Tennyson too. So we're kind of strategically switching over, leapfrogging, if you will. But we will come back there, and then once we're done with Raleigh, should be about January timeframe, we are done on that street.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Carlos.
Anyway, I know you gave a broad window for the construction at Lowell. That does directly impact me because I'm the owner of Seed Stock, and I know we're
Did
getting
you like that promo I gave you?
I did. Thank you very much. You just keep on doing it too. All right. Yes, we do handcrafted, excellent beer. That's my plug. But
I have it. It is.
I think we are getting close. Do we have a date when they're actually going to start and close down the intersection?
We think we do,
Okay.
but I didn't want to tell you guys before it was confirmed. So it's gonna be next week, middle to end, and we're gonna start with the driveway.
Good.
As we've discussed. So I will email you now with all of that so you have it.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Bailey or the West Colfax project?
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Bailey.
Yeah.
Coming on. All right. Let's see here. All right, and I did not introduce myself to this crew earlier, but my name is Chris Callahan. I'm a community engagement specialist with the DOTI, Denver Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. And I have a quick update for you regarding the Federal Boulevard Transit reliability improvements. Matthew Schwint, who's the project manager on this, came to this group in, I believe, April of this year to give an update on construction of this project. And wanted to just touch base because in case you haven't noticed, construction has not started. I want to kind of give an overview of what components of this project are here, and then kind of talk about what planned improvements are coming from our partners at the Colorado Department of Transportation, just so that you can have that comparison. So as a reminder, the project limits along Federal Boulevard was from Dartmouth to Columbine Road. And the project enhancements were really around sidewalk and waiting area improvements to enhance passenger experience for those using the public transportation system along Federal Boulevard. And then they were also going to be adding bus bypass lanes and queue jumps, which kind of expedite transportation or transit along the corridor at select intersections to make sure that, you know, you're not experiencing delays. And wonderfully, and some of you may be aware of this, but if not, the Colorado Department of Transportation is going to be implementing a bus rapid transit corridor along Federal Boulevard from the city limits in Denver. So it'll be the entire Federal Boulevard corridor within Denver. And the goal is to really be almost incorporating the best enhancements of that bus prioritization that the last project mentioned, and also almost like what light rail looks like really reliable, consistent service at frequent intervals. So the BRT's goals are to improve safety along the corridor, increase transit reliability and ridership, decrease travel times, and some extra enhancements are to promote cultural vibrancy, quality of life, and also increase that connectivity and mobility along the Federal Boulevard corridor. And just coming with a quick update, which is that like when looking at both of these projects side by side, we realized that the kind of planned Federal Boulevard transportation and transit improvements really overlapped with the Federal BRT. And with the BRT coming, that's actually going to provide that reliability, those access improvements, along with that project. So instead of having one project now that'll have to be ripped out in a couple of years, that's one component of this, is that CDOT is moving fast, and they are planning on starting construction on the Federal Boulevard BRT starting in 2027, which in the scale of kind of transportation and infrastructure projects is quite speedy. And they're planning on having service starting in 2030. So given the kind of expedited timeline, we have decided that it's best to kind of defer those improvements to the BRT because they'd be redundant, and kind of want to minimize construction impacts along the corridor that are unnecessary. So we'll will not be seeing construction along Federal Boulevard in those areas where federal transit improvements were planned, and you will be seeing construction on the bus rapid transit that CDOT is delivering here starting in 2027. All right, next up, I'm going to hand it over to Myla to talk about the Denver Connector Transit Service, which just launched. My, over to you.
Thanks, Chris. So we have exciting news. Denver Dottie launched the Denver Connector in its third area of the city as of this past Monday. And we're providing free on-demand rideshare services to people in neighborhoods with high transit dependency, including Villa Park and portions of Sun Valley, Valverde, Westwood, Asmar Park, and Ruby Hill. And Chris, could you go to the next slide? Oh, yep, and there's the service area map. So this service area spans about 6.3 square miles and includes access to major light rail lines and local destinations in the community. And we'll be evaluating this service area boundary every 6 months to see if adjustments need to be made based on where people want to go. Next slide. So to request a ride, you can download the Denver Connector app on your phone or call the phone number on this slide to request a ride in English or Spanish. And if you're on the app, you'll be able to type in your pickup location and search for your drop-off location. Tell the app how many people you have with you and add any notes you have, like if you have a ton of grocery bags. And the app will also prompt you if you'd like to request a wheelchair accessible vehicle or not. And again, this service is available Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. And the next slide. So right now we're promoting this new service wherever we can and have had requests to come to events and have a vehicle there for people to check out. We're also leaving information cards wherever we can at rec centers, community centers, stores, and more. And if you have any other ideas on how to get the word out, please feel free to reach out to me.
Curious for folks who are on the call, if you have any ideas just top of mind, you can always reach out to mine, but wanted to kind of create some space to get that feedback. I know Jerry, you're a business owner. If there's any opportunities to kind of promote the event or this new service, it would be great to learn about. Carlos, I see your hand raised.
Hi, Mila. I just wanted to know if there's a certain area that you guys are you just expanding from this area out, or as requested, or how does that work?
Well, this is our third service area. So the first one was in Montbello, the second one was in Globeville, Elyria, Swansea, and now we're in the general southwest Denver area. We'll be seeing, analyzing the trips people are taking, doing surveys on board, and trying to figure out if we got the service area right. But the caveat is that if we change or if we add an area, we have to take away an area because the microtransit service isn't really suited to serve more than 6 square miles, or else wait times would become way too long, over 30 minutes. So we'll have to gauge, that balance of adding new areas versus keeping wait times low.
And I will add that there's really rich service data that is kind of being collected by the operator of the transportation service. So we have a lot of really reliable data to kind of start informing, where folks are going and where they might want to go in the future that isn't within the service area. So it's really cool program. It's exciting to bring to this area. We really prioritize our equity areas and regions within the city and county of Denver for this service because we know transportation needs are most high in those areas. Jessica, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, I was just curious if I could get an image of that map again of where the services are available at, because I think we fall in that area, and I think it could be helpful for our participants.
That's great. Yeah, I'm happy to send you, Jessica, I think you registered with your email, so I can send your email address.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can send you a link to a interactive map so you can really zoom in and see what streets we're serving and what the boundaries are.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that would be super helpful. Thank you.
Jessica. Any other questions for Mai about the connector service? All right. Thanks, Mai. Appreciate you coming on. All right. I'm going to hand it over to Elena to talk about the sidewalk program.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elena McWhorter. I am the Legislative Affairs Specialist for the department and here to speak with you all about what I hope you've heard about before tonight, which is our new Denver Sidewalks program. And so this is a program that was an initially voter-approved ballot initiative from 2022. And so after working through all of the logistics of how we would stand up and implement this program, we are officially ready to launch it January of 2025. Go ahead to the next slide, please, Chris. So a quick reminder of why voters approved this ballot initiative and the alignment with the values and the goals of the city is that, we want to be sure that we create a vibrant, safe, and affordable Denver that provides mobility, community, sustainability, and safe and comfortable environments for our pedestrians, our residents, and our visitors. And so that's really the vision of this program, to create a connected, comprehensive, citywide sidewalk network that everyone can get around, whether they're going to school, to get to an RTD stop, to go to the grocery store, whatever it may be. We want to be sure that they can get there in a comfortable designated area and pathway where they are safe. Go ahead, next slide. So what does this program look like? There's 3 big buckets here that I wanted to cover with you tonight. So first we'll go over what the fee structure is, how we got there, and how it will be applied and what it means. We have an affordability program associated with this that we'll talk about and who qualifies for that. And then we'll move into kind of what does implementation look like in 2025 and beyond? How are we going to create this citywide comprehensive sidewalk network? Right now, we have over 3,000 miles of sidewalks, and that is about the equivalent of walking to New York City and back. So it's quite a ways. It's a large scope, a lot of variety in quality and where they go, where they stop, where they are. And so we want to be sure that we create a comprehensive network here. So we're going to do that by assessing a fee that begins January 2025. The base fee, or what is called the access fee, is $150. And this is going to be paid by 95% of property owners or account holders. And so this is a fee, I should clarify, that only applies to Denver property owners. So owners will receive bills they will receive a stormwater bill in 2025 that outlines what they'll owe for the year, and it will have a new line item on it that adds their sidewalk fee. So 95% of property owners, we captured most single family homes, most traditional, or I guess most houses in Denver really, with this base access fee. Then we have 5% of property owners or accounts who will pay an impact fee. And this is a $3.50 fee per foot of property you have adjacent to right-of-way over 230 feet. So to give you an idea, 230 feet is about 2/3 the size of a football field, or the length of a football field. So if your property that abuts to a street or a sidewalk or the right-of-way is about that length or longer, you may see this new impact fee on your bill as well. So it'll be the $150 plus $350 per additional foot. A lot of you might be thinking, how am I supposed to do this calculation and figure out what I'm going to owe so that I can calculate this into my budget in the new year? As of today, you can go to the URL on the bottom there, denvergov.org/sidewalks, and there is an online fee lookup tool where you can enter in your address where you live, and it will tell you how much your annual sidewalk fee will be. So go onto the website, learn all about this program, more than what I could tell you in the few minutes I have today, and I'm going to ramble, so who knows if it's a few minutes. But go there and find out what your fee is. If you're concerned about it being too much, we have an affordability program. We do not want this fee to be a burden on our residents. And so if you live in a household that has an area median income of 60% or less, you will qualify for between 50% and 100% rebate or a discount off of the fee that you pay each year. In addition, what we did is we included an affordable housing rebate program, understanding that we do not want to create financial barriers to affordable housing and affordable units. And so if affordable housing developers meet certain criteria, they will not be subject to the same fee, because we do not want them to pass that fee on to renters who qualify for affordable housing units. So a couple different tools there to try to control costs on our most vulnerable residents. The last piece here is implementation. Sorry, Chris, I'll go quick on this one. How are we going to get this done? You all are going to start paying a fee. I'm going to pay a fee. I live in Denver as well. We are going to kick off 2025 with construction projects. You will see sidewalks out there being repaired, replaced, reconstructed. We will be prioritizing in 2025 projects that are identified as Elevate and Rise Bond sidewalk projects, as well as high safety concern projects. So again, if you go to that website at the bottom of the page, you can submit a report with some photos if you feel like there is a sidewalk in your area that's a safety hazard. If it's something like over an inch gap that people may trip or fall, or completely deteriorating, anything like that, you can submit some photos, and if it meets the criteria, we will triage all of those areas and send out inspectors and address them. And so also on the website, you'll find a map where you can see all of the different areas that residents are reporting, and you can see which cases are closed for not meeting criteria versus which ones we are addressing and when they are being addressed. So very cool opportunity and tools there to see what projects are coming soon. In the long term, what that means is we're going to be spending 2025 really creating a prioritization and an investment plan for the fee that's going to be paid by residents. And so we want to be sure that we spend our dollars wisely and we get our biggest bang for our buck, and that we can deploy them in the most efficient and effective way possible. And so we will be looking at all different kinds of criteria, like density and travel modes to get places like schools, grocery stores, transit stops, all those different places where people need to get from their communities and their homes to places out into the community and to the public. And so we're going to be setting criteria and going through a community engagement process in 2025 to really identify where the community wants to see these dollars spent. So I say that to say, keep your eyes open, probably maybe spring of next year, and we will be starting to reach out again and get input on what you all want to see prioritized. With that, Chris, I'm sorry, I'll let you continue to the next topic.
There we go. Does anyone have any questions for Elena while she's on the call about the sidewalk program? All right.
Never happened.
Thank you so much, Elena.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
All right. And with that, we're going to hand it over to Nina Waisdorf with our solid waste team to talk about some service changes that have been recently announced. Just to share that information with y'all. Nina?
Hi, everyone. It's Nina Waisdorf. I'm the diversion and recycling manager for solid waste. And yeah, as Chris mentioned, about a month ago, we announced some service changes that will take effect in January of 2025. So I'm just going to share more about that and how you can prepare for those changes. So next slide, please. All right, so what's changing? Beginning in 2025, we will move to bi-weekly collection for our recycling service and an every 9-week rotation for our large item pickup service. With those changes, so those will kick in starting the week of January 6th, which is the first Monday of the new year. And then with that, we are also accelerating our compost rollout. So that is a service that is included in your trash fees at no additional charge. And we've been rolling that out fairly slowly for the past couple of years. We've been going through one of our collection areas per quarter since we've started in 2023. With that schedule, we would have ended at the end of 2025, but we heard the demand loud and clear for quicker access to compost. So we are speeding that up, and all residents in our remaining collection districts that we've not rolled out yet to will get information starting tomorrow, actually, about how to sign up for a cart. And you can go on, sign up for a cart, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. But we'll deliver those throughout February and into March, and then we'll be done with that March 15th. So, next slide, please. So big question, of course, is why are we modifying our services? The root of it is really to improve the sustainability of our program, sustainability of our services, and to hit some higher customer service goals. We kicked off our volume-based pricing program 2 years ago, just about 2 years ago. So we've learned a lot in the past 1 to 2 years, collected a lot of data. What we found is that recycling carts are consistently less full with weekly recycling. So we're circling the city twice as often in order to collect all carts weekly, which is about an extra 170,000 miles on our roads each year in very fuel inefficient vehicles, unfortunately. But we aren't seeing a significant gain in the recycling tonnage that we've collected. So we think that's an opportunity for us to reduce our miles on the road and divert those miles, if you will, or divert those trucks to expanding our compost program. With that, we will provide second recycling carts, or we can upsize carts to a large cart for that recycling service if residents are consistently filling up their recycling cart on a weekly basis. So if you are a super recycler like myself, you can request a second cart or a larger cart so that you won't see that impact of the weekly service. So you can still have the same amount of access, just it'll be collected every other week, but we'll collect both carts. So you can request a second cart or a larger cart through your Denver Utilities online account or by 311. by calling 311. But a quick note is that we will not start servicing those requests until April after we finish the compost rollout. So you sit tight a little bit. We also would like people to break down your boxes if you are someone who does not break down your boxes, because that is how a lot of people fill up their recycling carts. It's just those boxes take up a lot of space, and have found that to be the case. Our director is guilty of that. When we switched to weekly recycling, he stopped breaking down his boxes. So now he has to start breaking them down again. So we're all guilty of it. All right, so that's point number one. Number two, when we look at our diversion goals, the city has really aggressive goals for diverting material out of the landfill. Compost is really where we see the biggest potential there. Our estimates show that about half of what people throw away in their trash could actually be composted. That's all food scraps, all yard debris, especially folks with large yards. We can take all of that yard waste in those compost carts. So again, by adjusting the schedule for recycling and large item pickup, we can expand the access to compost more quickly. And then the big one is to maintain those high completion rates. We want to make sure that we're getting to all services on day of service. So it's important to us that we make sure that we can operate within our means with the resources that we have. So we're really matching service demand and service participation to the resources that we have, mainly trucks and staff. Next slide. So how you can prepare. If you do not already have a compost cart, as I mentioned, you'll be getting information here in just a couple of days throughout the next week or so about how to go on and select your cart. It is an opt-in service, so you do have to go in and tell us what size cart you want. We will not deliver a cart to you until we get that request. But if you do miss that January 10th deadline, you can still sign up. It'll just be delivered after we do this kind of like big batch. For this group, because this is the West area, we have already expanded the compost service to most neighborhoods in the West area. But again, if you miss the initial rollout in your district, we'll still bring you a cart. So just let us know what you want. Next, we recommend that everybody download the Denver Trash and Recycling app or go to denvergov.org/trash schedule, where we have like an online widget version. You can sign up you can view all of your upcoming collection days, so you can see which your recycling weeks for the next year, as well as your large item pickup weeks. So that's already on the app and on the web platform. So you can go in and look at it now. You can also sign up for collection reminders, so you never miss a day. We'll notify you the night before, reminding you to set your carts out for collection. So that's a really useful tool. You don't have to try to keep track. We'll tell you. And then last, sign up for the affordability rebate, which Elena mentioned. And if you go to the next slide. So again, it is a joint rebate between the sidewalk program and trash rebate. And if you qualify for one, you qualify for the other. And if you already have the trash rebate, it will automatically be applied to the sidewalk fee as well. So if you haven't already looked into that, if you haven't already applied, you can scan that QR code or go to denvergov.org/rebates, and you can start the application there. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nina. I appreciate you coming on to share the updates about the rollout. Curious, does anyone have any questions for Nina? No, wonderful.
Amazing.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Nina.
Well, feel free to reach out if you do.
Yes. All right. Well, with that, that's kind of the end of our kind of formal program for the evening. I did just want to check in and talk through, what our plan is for next year, and also some of our accomplishments for this year as well. Just to start, just really appreciate everybody's time and energy and passion around connectivity and the environment in these neighborhoods in the West area of town. This year was really great in the sense that we got a full complete project delivered along the West Colfax corridor between Sheridan and Federal Boulevard. And we also successfully completed 14th Avenue, a swift implementation of green infrastructure project to our green infrastructure team, which is a really collaborative program that worked with the West Colfax Neighborhood Association to kind of pilot what this looks like. So you go along 14th Avenue between Federal and Sheridan, you'll see quite a bit of change in terms of greenery that was added to enhance the quality of life, but also help improve the quality of stormwater drainage in the area. And speaking of stormwater drainage, the other project that was successfully kind of completed within this year is the Stewart Street Stormwater Improvement Project, which increases, again, that kind of quality of runoff to reduce flooding or kind of pooling of water during significant rain events. And then also connected to those significant rain events is we've been out and about the floodplain management group and the Office of Community and Business Engagement has really been partnering along the Weir Gulch portion of the floodplain in this area to talk through some increased flood hazard that we and our experts have kind of calculated with the Mile High Flood District impacting folks around the Weir Gulch area. So we've been out, we had over 13 different community outreach events to notify folks about their increased flood risk and what that means for their property. And if anybody here or watching this has not gotten that information, please feel free to either reach out to me or comment on the YouTube video, and we can get you connected to our floodplain management group to learn more about what that means for you and your property. So we had a really successful year and we have a lot coming in 2025. Our tentative meeting schedule, now that we've switched to quarterly meetings, is within this slide. So we are meeting quarterly. Our first meeting of 2025 will be in March 6th. So we'll give folks a little bit of a break for the holiday season and the start of the new year. And then June 5th, September 4th, and December 4th. So that's a kind of really planned meeting cadence. And you can certainly keep an eye out on your inboxes for those agendas. If anybody has any agenda item recommendations, I'm also very open to reaching out to folks within Dottie to help bring that information here to this meeting. So just keep me updated. And with that, I think we're through the last quarterly meeting for the West Area Community Advisory Group. And just want to say thank you and one last opportunity if anybody has any questions on the call right now. All right. Well, have a wonderful holiday season and we will be seeing you in the new year. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.